Welcome to the Joy Lab podcast, where we help you uncover and foster your most joyful self. Your hosts, Dr. Henry Emmons and Dr. Aimee bring you the ideal mix of soulful and scientifically sound tools to spark your joy, even when it feels dark. When you're ready to experiment with more joy, combine this podcast with the full Joy Lab program over at joylab.coach.
Hello, I'm Henry Emmons, and welcome back to Joy Lab.
And I'm Aimee Prasek. So here at Joy Lab, we help you uncover and grow your most joyful self. Be sure, folks, to follow the show wherever you're listening to this podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you can stay with us. We have some really great episodes coming for the new year coming up. Holy smokes, 2026. And visit joylab.coach as well to learn more about what we do. So we are today talking about something that connects to sympathetic joy in a powerful way. We are talking about collective effervescence. And I know it's kind of my new favorite term, I think. And this idea of emotional synchrony. So collective effervescence might sound like a weird term, but you have experienced it, I bet. Think about any time you've maybe been in a larger group of people all enjoying something like a concert, a sports game, when your team is winning, particularly a church service, perhaps a peaceful protest. You felt some kind of electric energy, I bet, like a feeling that goes through the whole group. And this can be really good for us. We are wired for it. Yeah. So the friends.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I want it.
Oh, you've had it.
I want more.
Yeah, we do want more. I think this is something we're really craving as a culture. So this is something that French sociologist Émile Durkheim studied back in like the early 1900s before the internet. So called it collective effervescence, thought it was absolutely central to how humans connect and thrive together. And I think here we are in 2025, nearly 2026, and it's like, yes, Émile, we need this now. So Durkheim discovered that when people gather together and focus on the same thing, their emotions start to synchronize and amplify. So we talked about the science of this in the last 2 episodes. I'll link those in the show notes. More on that sort of synchronizing. But Durkheim is really getting into this sort of group aspect, this group dynamic here, and identified some key ingredients for collective effervescence. So you need people physically together, everyone focused
physically together.
Key. Physically together, everyone focused on the same thing, and then some kind of coordinated movement or action, which I think is really cool. Just think of like when you're watching a sports game and people do the wave. Like, what a weird thing, but everybody's into it. That's a coordinated movement or action that kind of, amplifies the energy. So great. So there's also this concept called perceived emotional synchrony that researchers use to kind of measure this phenomenon, this experience. And they've found that when people feel emotionally in sync with others, kind of in these group settings, it has real measurable effects on well-being, on social connection, and even sort of how empowered people feel.
Okay, Aimee, I want to give you fair warning. I'm going into another boomer moment here.
Good for you. Go bravely, boomer.
So when I was in high school, there was a TV special called Roots, which a lot of people are going to remember or know about. Yeah.
Middle school for us. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was about the experience of being an African American in the time of slavery before the Civil War. It was a really, really wonderful show, but it was also a sociocultural phenomenon. And it's the first time I remember when almost everybody I knew had the same experience of watching the same thing at the same time and being really impacted by it. There have been a few similar things since, but I don't recall anything being quite as momentous as that. Maybe it's because it was my first such experience. But so like you said, I think this kind of shared experience, even though we weren't necessarily physically together, there was a sense, a knowing that everybody was doing this at the same time. And then you come together and, physically together and share your thoughts and emotions about the experience. It was just really powerful. I think it makes us feel less isolated, less alone. And then beyond that, it can move us forward collectively to something that was greater than what we were before, greater as a people. And so I think it can make us better individuals, but also better as a whole. Now, I am sure these things still happen today. I mean, I know that they do.
Yeah.
Yet, study after study is telling us how many people in our society currently feel really isolated and lonely. And I think we all know what an impact that has on our mental health. So one of the problems, I think, is that these cultural phenomena that happen nowadays are mostly asynchronous. They're not happening, we're not experiencing them together at the same time. So as an example, I love streaming and what it brings to us, but it does take away the chance for a shared experience. And then, COVID happened, and now people don't even hardly go to the movies together. If you go to a movie, it's a pretty empty theater, it seems like. So I love this term, collective effervescence. And I think I'm wishing that we had more of it, because I think the power to lift us is a lot greater when we are lifted together.
Yes. Yeah, there's something very physical about this, I think, as you're knowing. Like Durkheim didn't say Zoom effervescence or Microsoft Teams effervescence. This is very much a collection of people in the same space. And I think the other piece of this that is so often missing and kind of connected to your note of watching Roots is that gathering for joy is super good for our well-being, yes. But so is gathering together in grief. Mm-hmm. Durkheim got into this too, that we cannot face life's difficulties alone. And when we're talking about loneliness, life's difficulties just happen. We cannot face them alone. And so when we're talking about loneliness and isolation, those are just amplified. And so just like with joy, when we come together in these synchronous experiences that honor loss and hardship, something shifts. We can feel supported and revitalized and more connected to something bigger than ourselves. And that's so important when you're experiencing grief, when you're experiencing depression. So I think whether we're gathering in grief or in celebration, the research shows that these synchronized emotional experiences can enhance well-being, strengthen social bonds, even reinforce our shared values. And all that sounds super great. I will note, however, that these same quick hits of feeling good can happen when we're gathering for causes that are harmful. Mm-hmm. We see this with cults, gangs, gatherings fueled by hate, violent protests. They might get some dopamine hits early on and even that sense of belonging, but the well-being outcomes, even the survival outcomes of those types of gatherings are not the same. Which is tricky, really, because you can get a burst of feel-good energy, a burst of a sense of belonging, but then the harm comes. So there's got to be some awareness here when we're gathering with others, that we're gathering in nourishing ways, in ways that are maybe anchored in our 12 elements of joy. That's a helpful tool. When you're gathering in those ways, and gathering in grief is one of those ways as well, you can expect good things often.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think the tone and the content of these gatherings really matters. I guess in a way, the passions that are fueled, for example, by our current political climate are giving us an opportunity really to experience more of this collective synchronizing with other people's emotions.
Yeah.
Personally, I believe it has a different outcome, both on us as individuals and on the whole, when there's a tone of acceptance or kindness in the gathering.
100%. The research will support that. So how do we cultivate this in a healthy way? We can't always be at concerts or big gatherings. Like, what about in everyday lives? And I think the research is helpful here. It gives us some key ingredients. Henry, you notice the tone, the content. So yes. And one of the most important things, physical co-presence. So just being together, being in the same space, not just on screen, as much as possible. Obviously, if there's limitations there, great. On screen, there's still benefits there. Okay, so if able, physical co-presence. Second, shared focus attention. Kind of brought these up earlier, bringing them back now. So everyone's paying attention to the same thing as much as possible. It could be a conversation, book, a meal, an activity, a sport, whatever. Third is that behavioral synchrony. So that's that behavioral activation shared. This could be as simple as everyone laughing at the same joke. So you could be at a comedy club, or you could have like amateur night at your own house where everybody's telling jokes. Or it could be as complex, for me anyway, as dancing together or singing together. And here's where we can really practice sympathetic joy as well. Like when someone is at the dinner table and shares good news, we can really tune into that. We can be happy for them, feel that. We can create that emotional synchrony. So we're not just going through the motions of saying congratulations. We're actually like really syncing up our emotional state with their joy. So the key there is to tune in and really notice how you're feeling through these experiences.
Mm-hmm. Your comment about dancing or singing together makes me think of a really simple and I think beautiful way to do this. So my son and daughter-in-law have really embraced this gathering together to do informal singing as a group. So it's called song circles. And I think it got really popular during COVID when people could gather outdoors and sing together without the risk of, getting sick or what have you. But didn't start then, but I think it just kind of grew in popularity. Anyway, depending on how big the group is, they can meet in somebody's home or maybe a bigger public space. And as I understand it, this is kind of ideal for folks who love to sing or simply are looking for community, but maybe they don't have the time or the inclination to be in a more formal choir, or they don't have a ton of experience to consider themselves really, good at it. But none of that matters. What matters is just the act of synchronizing your voice with the other voices, you're singing simple but lovely tunes that just give you the pleasure of singing with others. And I just love how this seems to democratize singing, making it accessible to anybody who wants to do it. So they bring their young kids to this as well, which just gives them an early experience of being part of something larger than themselves. And I imagine them growing up just seeing this as a normal part of life, being connected to others in this really simple, routine way. And if any of you have ever done this, it's kind of hard not to feel better, even a little more joyful when you're singing joyful songs with others who are just getting so much pleasure from it, just simple pleasure. That sounds like collective effervescence to me.
I love that. It gives me a little bit of social anxiety, I'm not going to lie. But the other thing to say about that too is you can just mouth the words, the behavioral synchrony. You don't have to make the sounds necessarily. That's what I love about this collective effervescence. These ingredients that come into it, the people together, the physical co-presence, the kind of synchrony of the energy. You don't have to be singing your heart out. You can just quietly enjoy the music too and get so much from that.
Well, Aimee, I want to do this sometime, so I'll go with you.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
We don't have to stand right next to each other if you don't want, but
yeah, I don't know what my hang up is about singing. I got to figure this out. But
I think this is perfect for people who have hang-ups about singing.
Oh, there we go.
You should try it.
Yeah, I think that's what's exciting about collective effervescence as well. Try something new, perhaps, right? And participate in the level that feels comfortable for you, because just being part of it is going to be beneficial. And you don't have to meet somebody new or make a new best friend or like channel Celine Dion or Mariah Carey or something, right? You can just be soaking in joy and celebration or grief and support with everyone else. It matters. We are wired for this. We're designed to sync up with each other, to amplify each other's emotions, to feel together, to feel good together, to feel grief together, and to heal together. So I hope this has been an encouraging invitation to create an experience of collective effervescence that fits you. It could be singing circles. It could be dancing squares. It could be a book club. It could be a silent gardening club, whatever it is.
Oh, I like that. I like the sounds of that too.
I know. Yeah. Be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to, and then comment. If you have an idea for collective effervescence, put it in the comments of wherever you're listening. Let us know what your ideas are. Like, let's get a whole big pot of ideas that we can choose from. I love that. So to end us, I want to share some wisdom from Alice Waters. Here's what she wrote. This is the power of gathering. It inspires us delightfully to be more hopeful, more joyful, more thoughtful. In a word, more alive.
Thank you for listening to the Joy Lab podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, visit joylab.coach to learn more about the full Joy Lab program. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Please remember that this content is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to provide medical advice and is not a replacement for advice and treatment from a medical professional. Please consult your doctor or other qualified health professional before beginning any diet change, supplement, or lifestyle program. Please see our terms for more information.